Bitcoin Guide Chapter 2 Technology. What is Bitcoin? In the previous chapter, we examined the problem of inflation and suggested the need for a new bank. And now we will study this bank. But Bitcoin is complicated, so to make it simple, we will break it down into three parts. First, we will look at what is it. Then we will see where and who makes it. And then we will study how it's made. By the end of this chapter, you will understand Bitcoin better than almost anybody. So let's begin. The key to understand Bitcoin is to think about it like a social network, like Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube. All of these different networks are places where people use usernames and passwords to share posts and comments on top of them. The Bitcoin network is the same. It's also created by people using usernames and passwords, uploading posts and comments. But unlike other social networks that are created to communicate and share information, the Bitcoin network is made to work as a bank. That's why it's so different. The Bitcoin post is called a block. All of the blocks are connected to each other like a chain. That's why all of the blocks together are called the blockchain. This is the entire feed of the Bitcoin network. And I have good news. When we understand one block of the chain, we understand all of the chain. So let's examine the block and understand how it works. Like every social network, the Bitcoin network exists online, so Google can help us find it. What we are seeing here are dedicated websites to show the Bitcoin network. Here we find the first block ever created. The block can be separated into three main parts: the content, the comments, and the connection. And it only does three simple actions: create new bitcoins, transfer bitcoins between users, and connects the blocks to each other. These three things are the only things that happen inside the Bitcoin network. Now let's take a closer look at these three actions. Part 1. Content. In other social networks, people post pictures, videos, or text, but in the Bitcoin network, the only thing people upload are numbers. These numbers are bitcoins. Here you can see it happening in a real block. As you can see, 50 new bitcoins next to this username. The creator of the block basically writes a check to his own username, and he gives that check an ID, so that later he can point to it and use his new bitcoins. In the next block, someone else creates 50 more bitcoins. This is the inflation of new bitcoins into the world. But there is a maximum limit to the amount of new bitcoins that are created in the new block. The maximum amount are 50 bitcoins, not 51 and not a million. This ensures a steady inflation rate inside the block. But what is the inflation rate of new blocks into the system? On average, a new block is created once every 10 minutes. So the Bitcoin network produces 6 blocks every hour, 144 blocks every day, 4,320 blocks every month, and 52,500 blocks every year. This is the amount of new blocks that are created in the Bitcoin network every year, and this doesn't change. But the amount of new bitcoins that are created inside the block is changing over time. After every 210,000 blocks, something special happens. The amount of new bitcoins that are created inside the block is cut in half, from 50 to 25. This is called the halving. Here you can see it happen in block number 210,000. and here you can see it again. This happens every 210,000 blocks, on average once every 4 years. This means that the inflation of bitcoins in the network is reducing over time, from 50 to 25 to 12.5 to 6.25 to 3.18, which is right now, all the way to 0. This means that the inflation inside the Bitcoin bank is slowing over time until it stops completely. During that time, in the first 4 years, the Bitcoin network creates 10.5 million Bitcoins. Then in the next 4 years, it creates half of that, and then half of that, slowly slowing down until stopping completely, creating a total supply of 21 million Bitcoins. That's how we achieve our purpose from the previous chapter, creating a bank with a limited supply that can grow in value over time. Thanks to the halving, we achieve this purpose. But this supply is useless if we can't move it, which brings us to part number 2 of the block, the comments, which move bitcoins between the users.